Hello, everyone. Greetings on this beautiful Sunday. If you're watching this now or on the replay, thank you for being here. I already see that there's a whole lot of fascinating topics about Tartaria. I have some websites I'm going to share with you that you can do your own research. We're going to pull some cards, see what's really going on. Was there an ancient empire in the Dark Ages, you could say Middle Ages, Dark Ages, early Dark Ages, that has been erased off the maps? And why are we not talking about the beautiful architectures, the beautiful design, the beautiful ancient old world, hidden, even underground, allegedly by a mud flood? Why is history not talking about that? Okay, so I'm going to give everyone a chance to get on here. Thank you for being here. Some of you have already hit the like button. Hi, Shauna. Glad you're here. Yes, you have the right time. I just needed some extra time to get my friends ready and my cards. Ethereal World, thank you for telling and asking everyone to hit that like button. I appreciate that. We're waiting, a great exchange of energy. I do appreciate that. It helps get it into the YouTube AI algorithm. Bringing only positive vibes, anti-gravity-ish. Yes, not everyone may be ready to embrace Tartaria. And so whether you agree or whether you disagree, always keep the attitude of exploration, which everyone here does. Anti-gravity-ish is looking for Richard. Yes, Richard has great questions concerning this. He, I believe, did get a notification. We will go on from there. But you all have amazing questions. As we wait for everyone to get on here, I wanted to I finally created something where people can look at if they are interested in any of my products. If you know of anyone who wants a private reading, I can do them through Zoom or email. If you want to get notified by YouTube, please hit that little bell button when you look at my video. That bell button will help you get notified when I go live. And of course, I have all my member perks. I want to do extended readings for the people and members and give them real life situations that can improve their life. And so next Sunday, the extended reading is going to be on June predictions for your nation. And then afterward, and I'm going to try to do the predictions for your nation every month. And then every month for the members, I also want to do a general financial prediction, gold, silver, and some crypto. I am not an expert. If you want details, you'll have to get a private reading with me, but I can do things on the stock market. I believe Spirit's laying on my heart 5 specific things: gold, silver, the stock market, XLM, and XRP. And of course, if you come as a member, you can ask about your particular crypto that you're interested in. Last week, we did this video, Intel on CERN. Are we really turning lead into gold? What is CERN going to be used for in the next coming years? What is the Hadron Collider? That was very fascinating. Now, today I am doing a special gift to everybody. The extended reading was going to be on, yes, an extended reading on Tartaria, but I am adding it straight to this show. And I'm going to take a little mini break at about 45 minutes to an hour. The first part's going to be just looking into old world Tartaria. But the second part, I'm going to bring in a little bit of light language like I do for members. And then we're going to ask questions about technology from that world into ours. Are there any star seeds that are bringing Tartarian technology to us? Do we have any patents pending from that old world? And any angelic messages to help us bring this kind of technology into our golden age today? Awesome. Thank you. All right. Anti-Gravity-ish asks, did they go astray or were they punished for that? Where did they disappear to? Were they eaten? No trace of their bodies, although the buildings exist. So weird. Great questions. We're going to put that into that is a crazy good question. I just hit the bell button. Thank you so much, Ethereal World. Good ideas about the next shows. I want to be able to give you all some concrete life encouragement and ideas. Marie says, good day, Ruth. Good day to you. Good day. Good day. Thank you for being here. Let's get started. 2 cards came up as I was preparing my live. We have the Queen of Cups and the 8 of Cups. So this is just telling me there's an emotional cleansing going on right now in the atmosphere, in the world. There is some tremendous emotional releases. It's also the new moon today, May 26th. So happy new moon in Gemini. And here's just a reminder that anything that's not feeling right to you, let it go. Little message from the cards for today. Okay, so I have here a website that if you have an alternate screen, feel free to bring up. Yay, Richard's here. She says, hello all. Shout out to Anti-Gravity-ish. Know next to nothing about this subject. Sounds like you have done the deep dive. I can't believe how much you all just fulfill my life. Okay, Tartaria Britannica. I am going to share the website with you here. It is a Tartarian Britannica. It's not Britannica. It's a magazine about Tartaria, and you can find it at tartariabritannica.com. Let's see if I can share the... Oh, I can't share the thing, but Tartaria, it's up there on the title, tartariabritannica.com. And this has a myriad of hidden history, lost civilizations, the mud flood. This is their research that they have brought free to the world, old world technology and architecture. Okay. How did the ancient civilizations build these structures that modern engineers struggle to replicate? Why do so many ancient sites align with energy grids and celestial pathways? Look at the star forts. There's actually a star fort in, I believe, Ontario, Canada. There's another star fort in Quebec along the coast. I believe there's a star fort on the eastern side of the United States, and those are just the ones close to me. These are shaped grid-like patterns of where ancient civilizations used to live. We also have, look at this structure. Why are we not building buildings like this today? The Toronto Lunatic Asylum, a beautiful, beautiful building. We have the gladiators here, the Colosseums. Why can we not, is it broken? Why can we not rebuild it? The pyramids, a lot of this is all here on the website. We have the maps, which I'm going to put up on the screen. And then, of course, we have creatures, which are fascinating. Lots of different creatures recorded from this day and age. Now, I want to bring in a small disclaimer. And that's because researching esoteric Christianity, it feels like some of the pyramids, the star forts, not necessarily the structures, okay, but the pyramids, the star forts, the creatures could be coming from a previous Earth civilization before the flood. And so the flood, anything before the flood might be different from this Tartaria. However, we're going to ask the cards, of course. We can ask the cards anything we want, but there could be ancient Earth civilizations from predated humanity, and then there might be this civilization smack dab in the Dark Ages, and I'll share that with you. Shauna says there are 4 star forts in Canada. Very interesting. And I hear they're magical too. Like they just have an amazing energy and are probably on the ley lines of the earth. For those of you who might be watching this later or on the replay or don't know what a ley line is, my understanding of a ley line is that it's Earth's meridian field where her electricity or her electromagnetic field or her magnetic field, whichever the scientists agree on, it runs along the earth and gives her her life force. So it's basically like the veins of earth that carry tremendous energy. Okay, so here is a map from Wikipedia, which I have actually not found on the original site, but I wanted to share it. A 1700 map of Asia dividing, quote, Great Tartary into Muscovite Tartary, Chinese Tartary, and independent Tartary. So this is from the 1700s. Allegedly, the Great Reset happened at the 1800s. So why was this map erased? Now, this map is from the cartographer Magini Antonio in the 1500s. He lived till 1617. And I'm going to share with you a little bit about, now the white on here is the landmass, and it's covering, I believe this is covering Asia into and Alaska and the Americas as they knew it today. There's also the country of Japan. Shauna says Muscovy is now Moscow, Moscow's territory, Muscovy. And I hope I'm saying it right. I apologize if I get these words wrong. Back to the star forts. She says 2 are in Quebec, 1 is in Kingston, Ontario, and 1 is on Niagara on the lake near Niagara Falls. Wow. Okay. Awesome. Powerful, powerful, powerful. So this map is a little bit hard to see. So I'm going to bring up the original map here. And we want to bring up this article. So this is an empire of Tartary. It could be Tartary too. 1596. It first appeared in 1596 in a fantastic illustration that showed the Tartarian landmass and covers much of the area we now call Russia. As all maps do, this has some interesting geographical locations. Antonio was a well-known and respected cartographer, astrologer, and mathematician. Is that why he was erased? Astrologer, mathematician. He was born in Italy and studied philosophy in Bologna. He went on to beat Galileo for the chair of mathematics at the same university before he died in 1776. So he rose to a higher position or got elected or was appointed to a higher position than Galileo at one time. So he's on the same level of the mathematician Galileo. He had an accomplished life, published works in trigonometry, invented his own calendar, and one of his passions and legacy was to create an atlas of Italy, which was printed posthumously in 1620. First, the most obvious interest is the presence of Alaska on a map from 1596. So here's the illustration, the Americas, and it includes Alaska. Let me make sure you all can see it on my, okay, yes. That is Alaska right here where it says America. Let me go back. The official history for Alaska varies, but it is widely accepted that Europeans were not aware of Alaska until the Great Northern Expedition, when Vitus Bering, along with Chayakov, sighted the southern coast of Alaska on July of 1741. The sighting occurred near present-day Kayak Island. Okay, so why is Alaska already on the map? And yet here we have a detailed impression of the coast of Alaska stretching as far as Baja, California. Now, I want to make an interesting note here that there are pictures and photographs which I hope to show you here soon. And it's actually the photograph on the face of this live that of the just Tartarian life, that is, let me bring it up to you. That is the actual picture of a temple in California before the 1800s. And I have here, I could pull it up on Wikipedia, but it is actually Wikipedia. When I tested Tartaria in Wikipedia, all they had to say was conspiracy theories. That is a palace of horticulture built on the Panama Pacific International Exposition in, I believe, California it's a picture in 1915. So it was the World's Fair held in San Francisco, California, United States from February 20th to December 4th, almost all year, of 1915. Its stated purpose was to celebrate the completion of the Panama Canal, which was widely seen in the city as an opportunity, and I just lost it. Okay, and now we see a picture of the Liberty Bell coming up, which is also that ancient. So this is the World's Fair in 1915, and it's confirmed by Wikipedia. Where is this building? Maybe that building's still there, but who built that building? When they in the alleged 1800s are traveling by stagecoach and wagon train into the Old West, what is this building doing in California in 1915? What a question. What a question. Okay, I got sidetracked. Let's get back to our article. So Alaska and California are on the map in the 1500s. Okay, and the center of the map is a reference to the famed Northern Passage that Marco Polo and many others were inspired to find. This is the mythical passage between the Atlantic and the Pacific Oceans. And it was originally named, the name was officially termed in 1562 on a map there by these cartographers. The next interesting feature is the size of Japan, marking a vast territory complete with cities and place names. When comparing this modern Japan we see today, it looks as if most of Japan is now underwater, only leaving the left side peninsula and a few mountaintops for the modern day inhabitants. Again, this is the map of Tartaria, including some of Alaska, California, Japan, and Russia, and some of China. Inscribed below the island is this, and this translates to, on this map, the island of Japan called Zipangu by Marco Polo of Venice, formerly Chryse, once sought in war by the Great Khan, but unsuccessful. Here we find our first reference to the lost island, Zipangu, also Kyushu, also known. Zipangu was described by Marco Polo as a wealthy and prosperous land, rich in gold and ornate palaces. He noted the abundance of gold, pearls, and other precious gems, as well as the two Mongol invasion attempts in the 1200s, in 1274 and 1281. It's most interesting. We also have the name and location for the lost city and trading port Bungo, which played a large role in Japanese Christian history. It was visited by Francis Xavier in 1551 and was a Portuguese trading port around that time. Bungo is further detailed in the Chronicles of Japan, completed in 720 AD, but no trace of Bungo can be found in present-day Japan. Now we're going to other notable, the Tartar Empire, and I've also seen it referred to as the Tatar Empire. I believe in more modern-day circles it's called Tatar, but this article is referring to it as Tartar. So it's depicted from Europe to Asia. What is interesting is that both towns and tents are depicted on the map. The Tartarian Empire consists of three aspects of society: the agricultural Tartarians, the city Tartarians, and the ruling Tartarians. The agricultural Tartarians would be like our modern day farming community who would have occupied most of the land. The city Tartarians would have collated and distributed resources and produce from their city dwellings. And finally, the ruling Tartarians and their armies would have traveled in vast caravans, setting up in different places for different lengths of time. We can see one of the ruling class in top right of the map in one of their ornate style tents. Right here, the Hordana in the top right, we see these tents right here. Horda. The middle of the map represents three tents. Down here, Magnus Charm, and was the capital of Karakoram or Karakoram, where the ruling class of Tartaria would gather. Surrounded by a desert and mountain range, it was a strategic location. In the center of the map, it reads, and it translates to Tartary, which included Asiatic, Sarmatia, and both which were formerly included Scythia. Now this goes on and on and on. Here at the bottom left of the Caspian Sea, it translates here, rubies are found. And we can look at any of these if you want to. The region of Tabor, where this is interesting. Tabor under the Tiber, which probably was the Tiber River, where the region of the Toltarians are, different name, Toltarians, where they may have once lost sacred books. Whoa. Here's something else said on the map: the European Tartars, that is, those who inhabit the fields of the Black Sea and the Meotian marshes and the entire isthmus of Tarika in Crimean Peninsula, the Crimean Peninsula, are not shown on this map, but are found on the Moscow map. So that's actually what says on this map in the 1500s. It says it's not found on this map, but it's found on another map. And so on we go. Here's Arseth, the tribe departed, the place of the Toltarians and Tartars. They substituted the Scythians. And there's an alleged mention of the mythical and spiritual place of the 10 lost tribes of Israel is astounding, with a narration where they once were and that they might have taken new names and left the area is a fantastic place to start when rediscovering the lost 10 tribes of Israel. In Ezra 2, 13, 14 to 40 to 45, Esdras. I think it could be Isaiah or Ezra. Anyway, a book of the Bible says these are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoner out of their own land in the time of Hosea, the king, where Salmanasar, the king of Assyria, led away captive. He carried them over the waters, so they came into another land. But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country, where never mankind dwelt, that they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow passage of the river for the Most High, and they showed signs for them, and held still the flood till they were passed over. And through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the same region is called Arsareth. And Arsareth allegedly is known on this map. So that's one alleged theory. We go into the kingdom of the Christians, known by the name Prester John. Nestoria Christianity. I would love to investigate this, find out if this was maybe like an esoteric Christianity. Tartary held the most warlike regions for itself. It had inhabitants, though fierce yet tamed, rapish, cruel and hostile to the human race. Just interesting that it gave us insight that there was a diversity of the nature within the culture of Tartaria. Okay, and then these are just other cities. Okay, let me go here now. That was intense. Let me read some of your comments, because some of you are bringing clarity to this. Okay, Moscow equals Mogoski. Shauna says, apparently the part east of that was the core Tartaria, and there were giants living there. There are giants mentioned in that magazine. You can explore that. And there are giants mentioned in the Bible as well. East of the Muscovy Tartaria, probably why so much of the east territory of the Urals is left uninhabited. Conquered, wiped out, hidden to our current civilization. Exactly. What were these palaces, and who was living there in the 1500s? Why are they called the Dark Ages, where we had no knowledge, allegedly no books? I was taught even in school that everyone was illiterate, so there were no books, and it wasn't until the Reformation and the other one, anyway, the one with the art Renaissance, that we started producing books and maps. Why do we have no record of this? And what if we did have maps and books, but those are some of the lost books that we don't know about? Shauna says the Chinese traded with Alaskan natives well before the Russians discovered Alaska. I believe it. We have evidence from these maps. Ethereal World says the world fairs were often held as a smoke screen to showcase architectural feats whose origin otherwise can't be explained. Or could we say, were not willing to be explained? Horda is horde in English. It's the mass of troops like the Mongols had, hence the name Mongol hordes. So that's on the map where it showed the tents in the top right corner. It said Horda, like the hordes or the troops. Ethereal World says today's Tartars are the native population of the Crimea and also live near the Caspian Sea. And Crimea is the southernmost part of Ukraine, invaded and annexed by Russia in 2014. Wow. Giants, there were giants, probably the Nephilim, excuse me. Probably the Nephilim, because to have this kind of ornate architecture, knowledge, and abilities, they also would have possibly even been able to do genetics, or maybe these were just genetics that came from Atlantis. Okay, let's get into the cards. I'm going to share with you today. Today, Anti-Gravitia says today Tartars are Muslim. Good to know. I would assume that culture is still existent in the DNA of the people anyway. Okay, the questions that I have to do as we just go into old world are these, and then you add in the other questions. We already have a boatload here at the beginning of the live from one of you, and I appreciate that, and I want to go to that. Yeah, Anti-Gravitish had a great set of questions. We're going to do the first general questions, and then we're going to go into those details. Okay. Was Tartaria known as a real empire in the Dark Ages? Were they known? Okay. And we're going to see how was the architecture built. So was it real? Was it known? And how was it built? I want to just see what Spirit wants to say here. What do you want to say about a general message about the truth of Tartaria? I just need to tap into its energy. Thank you, Spirit. We ask for peace and truth and clarity for our best and highest good. Spirit, what can you tell us as we broach the subject of Tartaria? Is it a real empire, known or unknown in the Dark Ages? How was it built? We have one card coming out, but I want a full spread. How was it built? Thank you, thank you, thank you. What can you tell us? The World card. Okay. Very interesting. I'm going to pull a full spread because this is new to me. I have not done much research except today. A leaving, a traveling. So it looks like a bunch of people and something ended and people traveled to this location. A major ending. An announcement, a discovery, a realization. And this is the card that originally fell out. They were looking for a protected place, a place where they can protect themselves, settle, and quietly. It's a very guarded place. It has an energy of guard to it. And in this card that fell out, notice the castle on the hill. Okay, there's a little bit of a glare, but notice the castle on the hill and notice how she's protecting gold. All right, so the energy coming in here is there was a group of civilization whose civilization ended or their previous location, they had to leave it. They needed a new location. So they had to travel to Tartaria. This is a group of people, but I'm also getting many groups, many sets of groups of people. This is confirming a little bit the story of, I'm not saying this. I'm not saying I believe this. I'm not saying that this is what the card's saying, but this is pinging to me the story of the lost tribes or something similar. Was there a flood and they moved here? Is this a descendants of the historical Esau people? Remember how Abraham had two sons, one was Isaac, one was Esau, and he split the two, and now the Middle East is fighting over whose father is Abraham. Abraham's our father. No, Abraham's our father. We get the land. No, we get the land. But there is an alleged story that Esau left to go to another land, became very, very rich. So this is that kind, whether it's the lost tribes of Israel or the people of Esau. Esau is the descendant of the Muslims, just to let you know. Esau, is the ancestor of the Muslims. So I'm getting this kind of right after the flood, and civilizations began creating, and a massive group of several sets of civilizations moved. They had to move because of a tremendous ending. They wanted to be very secret. They wanted to establish their own religion, and they wanted to hide from the rest of the world. The high priestess can have intense esoteric knowledge, but also very secret and hidden knowledge. So they entered this land with the purpose to shut out the outside world, to block out I'm seeing the Assyrians, the Syrians, the Egyptians, the Romans, the Greeks. The roots of this people, they wanted to block out some of those old empires that were ruling with a little bit more violence and control, much less ascended than what I'm getting with this group of people. They had some sort of ancient knowledge and ancient wisdom that they took with them. This could even be a faction after the flood that it says they traveled, but I am getting a flood vibe of where something massive ended, a catastrophe ended, but I'm not getting a war. I'm getting something ended and they needed a new place to live. That's the history of this. I want to pull on the secret. They took with them, oh wow, we have the devil card and the card of lack of money and travel. So I believe that their resources were being stolen or siphoned by a current empire, by a current group of people. Their resources were being stolen and they took their resources with them so that they wouldn't be stolen. Very interesting. Okay, that's the message that I'm getting here right now. The other one here is, how is the architecture built? What did they have? And I want to pinpoint where that technology came from. And I want to see if it comes from like Atlantis or Solomon's kind of technology. Spirit, how was the empire built, and is it really as big and beautiful and rich and exuberant as they say it is? How is the architecture built, and was it as rich as they say it is? Okay, I'm seeing pyramids right now. So that, and pyramids I feel are not just Tartaria, they go to Atlantis. So there's a connection there. I'm seeing documents, books, maps. I'm seeing the mystery schools. This is also some of the beginnings of Hindu and Buddha, that kind of spirituality. Spirit, what can you tell us about how the architecture was built, and did they really have gold? Queen of Pentacles. Gold, queen, but they kept it to themselves. They were not going to be doing international trading. They did not want to trade. They did not want to do much. I'm seeing spices, a lot of the spices. Queen of Sheba. There's a very rich queen that came, I believe, from the east, or was it from the south, and visited Solomon and looked at him, and she brought spices. So there could be some sort of feminine energy queen type thing, and she was so much more interested in her people than in international trade. International trade is more of a king thing, a masculine energy, going out and connecting to other people, but this is the mother energy. Blocked. Yeah, she was keeping a lot, or they were keeping a lot of their resources in. High Priestess again. This is that document. Now I'm seeing the scrolls, because she does have a scroll in her hand. I'm seeing the scrolls, the ancient wisdom. We can't let them have this. If they have it, they will destroy the world. That kind of feeling. Destroy the world, an ending card. I believe that they captured some of this at the ending of the old age, which would have been 6,000 to 10,000 years ago. Some of that ancient, what are those? The Sumerian technologies from like the earliest civilizations we have that are written. Some of that document the history of the old world. They had the history of the real earth. Tartarians had the history of the previous civilizations of earth. They had the history of the flood. They had the true cataclysmic documentation of what really happened. They carried the truth down from the previous ages of earth. This is telling me, we're all looking at the Vatican for our documents, and the Vatican might have some of the information, but the Vatican might have stolen it from these kinds of people, from Tartaria. Does that make sense? Two of Pentacles. Two of Pentacles. Okay, so that's their gold, their silver. What about their architecture? This coming from the documents, coming from the Atlantean technology. Why am I seeing the fighting, the war, secret knowledge? I believe that there was one of the reasons why they left is because there was a war, an attempt to hide it by the Roman empires or the Greek Empire, whatever empires they left, there was an attempt to capture and hide some of that technology or to use it for evil. And so them moving and creating Tartaria and keeping it hidden and secret was one way that they actually preserved some of the mystery school information. Okay, I'm not getting a whole lot of wealth and riches. I'm just getting like the pyramid kind of building. It looks like they might have stolen it. Okay, a lot of the information is coming, a lot of their power was in their ability to use energy, frequency, vibration to build this, build these this is pyramid technology. Whatever created the pyramids help build this technology. And this is like the levitation right here Four of Swords. Technology that can levitate. And there was an actual war going on about this technology. And they actually separated to Tartaria, buried it in their own archives, and then began using it to build their empire. And because they left and moved so far away, they were able to build it in peace. Okay, let me see. Let me go ahead now. So at one point, all of that was under the Ottoman Empire. Interesting. Maybe ask how the mud floods are connected to these buildings they left behind, like a vibrational shift that caused a catastrophe. That could be some of the energy also that I'm seeing here, is that there was a catastrophe happening. We're getting a devil card and a civilization collapse. So yes, so let's go into that. And I want to ask here, back to the top question. Did they go astray? Were they punished for that? Where did they disappear to? Were they eaten? No trace of their bodies. What is this mud flood? Although the buildings exist, so weird. The buildings do exist. Okay, so let's ask the question, why did this Tartarian Empire disappear? Why? And then we're going to ask about the mud flood. What were the steps leading up to Tartaria? It's actually really difficult to see, just to let you know. Page of Wands. I'm seeing a direct energy weapon. And I want to go to this article. Oh, no, it's not that one. It is the article on my website. Not my website, though I will probably share it to my website. This is on, I found this on Telegram. It is about the DO energy weapons are actually Tartarian technology. Yeah. Yeah, I saw something about energy weapons. So it's like Tartaria created a type of energy, and they began to weaponize it. So they brought it from ancient Atlantis, but then they weaponized it and it was used against them. And it's very interesting because I believe that it was Mr. H from Germany that said, I will not use a weapon on anyone that I do not first have a defense weapon, a defense mechanism to defend in case my enemies should gather those weapons. Anyway, here it was on the thing. They said that basically DO weapons came from Tartaria. Now, are DO weapons from Atlantis? They could be. But when I saw this streak of energy, Page of Wands, directed energy, but energy that's not maturely used, this made me think of energy going bad, creating possibly a collapse, weaponized energy. Spirit, what can you tell me about why did Tartaria collapse? Okay, I'm doing a full spread. We have Temperance card and the Empress card. This is the beautiful motherland of Tartaria, the architecture, the wealth, the riches, the balance, the health. Okay, the Tower card. So it was definitely struck with something. Tremendous kind of energy caused it to collapse. What was this? This is an emperor. This is coming in as an outside force, a WAR, conflict, an attack, and then the Fool card. So this is answering your question, anti-gravity-ish. Where did they go? There was energy weapons of some sort. And we have the Queen of Wands. So I'm seeing like an army coming against this empire. around the 16 to 1700s. And it's definitely the masculine empires that were not in line with health. Now, they're feminine empires that are not in line with balance either, okay? That's why Atlantis collapsed. So it's not either or. It's just sometimes we can align ourselves out of balance on either too much feminine or too much masculine, and we don't come into holistic balance of let's bring them together. They should have been coming together. I believe Tartaria had a very feminine vibe of nurturing the people, and the Roman Empire had a very masculine vibe of let's collect everything we can and build. Okay, masculine, build, protect, gain, produce, thrive, where feminine is nurture, grow, expand, receive, and expand. So these two empires should have come together. I'm not saying it was the Roman Empire, okay? I don't know, but that's what's pinging off of my head. And these two world empires began collapsing and clashing, not collapsing, clashing. But because Tartaria is a type of nurturing, wealthy society that just wants to live in peace, or at least part of them wanted to live in peace, it looks like they moved. Okay? And they followed their intuition. They followed a female leader. And I'm hearing the words underground. 8 of Pentacles. They went to work somewhere. We're also hearing Ace of Wands to upgrade, and they left. So I don't believe these people were killed. The majority of those that are of the love and light, I'm seeing a faction stayed behind to fight. There could be the Ottoman Empire stayed behind to fight and became the Ottoman Empire. But a group of these people left. The majority of the true Tartarians left. They knew they needed a new land, but they went to work. They worked to produce something, and then they moved. They created something with work, and then they moved there. So this is a difficult position that they were in. But I'm also seeing, here's a surrender, a new beginning, and then the Page of Cups. Yeah, they definitely left to preserve their children and most of the children of Tartaria. But I'm also seeing an energetic field. I'm seeing an energetic shield. I'm seeing some of the dome-like activity that President Trump wants to put around the U.S. to do anti-missile satellite kind of thing. Only this is more energetic. I'm seeing like an invisibility shield. This is very, very weird. The Queen of Pentacles, yes. 3 of Swords. There were, I do believe, and then they moved to another land. Many were killed. Some were killed, but they moved to another land. I want to tap into the energy of this land if it will let me. And then I'll go look at your questions again and your comments, because you all might be making better sense of this than me. But they moved, part of them moved. They lost lives and they moved to protect their children. And I'm hearing the words, those children are still alive today. I don't know what that means. Those children are still alive today, and they're still actively fighting and working to make this world a better place. And my head's getting really itchy. That means that there's a lot of secrecy, and there's a lot of energy that's not normally known. It's not known in our society, so it's almost like an uncomfortable vibe for me. I'm seeing the children that escaped have grown up. I believe that there's some anti-aging technology that they have. What is this land? What is this? Where's this new location? Knight of Pentacles, 8 of Wands, and the Devil card. So I am getting clairvoyantly, I'm getting underground civilization. You know, those civilizations where they light it with crystals and they oxygize it with crystalline technology. And it's those big, beautiful caverns. I've heard rumors from whistleblowers of certain medical doctors, very high up medical doctors, being able to go down and learn about their anti-aging technologies. Okay, I'm clairvoyantly seeing that, but I'm also seeing a type of energy where they put up like an invisibility shield. Maybe there are locations here. And then there's a devil card, okay? And that's it. That's like the blockage. You're not allowed to enter. So this could be locations where humanity is not allowed to enter, such as the Grand Canyon, such as the Star Forts in Canada, such as the Stargates in the East. This could be any kind of my head's throbbing. So it's normal humanity is not supposed to see this, but there could be entrances to the ancestors of the Tartarians, and there could be invisibility shields. I've heard there is technology the US has reverse engineered. They have invisibility shields, and then you can enter and you go down, 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 like 30. You go down for like 15 minutes, 40, 60 levels down, and then it opens up into these massive caverns. We have the star cards. So whatever they have, it's tremendous technology, and my head is throbbing right now. We on the earth plane, the top side, are not supposed to know about it. There's also the ability that they have starships, and they have ships that can cloak themselves in the atmosphere, and so they can go up. I did not mean to tap into this, but the information's coming in fast that they also live underground. This is not the reptilians. This is high-end Tartarian Atlantis type good people who want nothing to do with the current way the earth is going. But they also go up at night. I see them like go up at night, and some of the UFOs that we see could be them in the atmosphere. But they're cloaked. Okay, we need to take a break from that because that is crazy. Let me read your comments here. Let's see if any of this makes sense. Okay, we're going to ask about the mud floods next. Yes. Okay, the Tartars, sorry. Not Tartars, sorry, I mean Tatars. Okay, the Tatars today, and I assume you're saying, are now Muslim. But I've also seen anti-gravity-ish that modern day people who speak about it sometimes interchange it, but I do agree with you. The Tartars might be slightly different. So I trust you on that. Good question, Richard. If those mud floods were a punishment, I'm feeling the mud floods was part of the energy weapon war, but we'll see. We will see. We'll ask. And what role did non-human, possibly inner Earth or off-world entities have in Tartaria's frequency base and architecture technology? That will be our second question, because we'll do the mud floods and was it punishment or war or anything else? And then we'll ask about non-humans, off-world. Yeah, because I'm almost seeing they're connected somehow to off-world. Are they remnants of the land beyond the dome, say a boundary, a reset that left us with the ruins? Yeah, we definitely need to do a whole nother live about this dome and this firmament. But I believe this Wednesday we're going to be doing the moon. Maybe next Sunday. Were they wiped out, or did they move underground, or did they migrate elsewhere? They definitely migrated ethereal world according to this. And I'm getting an underground, but I'm also getting an above. And I'm not getting, I'm getting an underground and I'm getting an above as well. That makes sense. Richard says, and the mystery schools save the tech. Even Saint Germain talks of this. Where did they move to? Yes, and I believe that the ascended masters can go through these invisibility shields. I have heard people actually have visions of working with Saint Germain and them going through the rock through teleportation and entering these massive caverns, and they were yellow sapphires and rubies and jewels and massive gold that Saint Germain showed them in this vision. Was that direct energy weapon a frequency weapon? Yes, when I say I'm seeing frequency, like the same frequency they used to elevate the stones to build the pyramids, that was weaponized, possibly against them. Richard says, Ishmael Perez, our Cosmic Origin books, talks of this, but not sure if he uses the term Tartaria. Okay, yes, I'm going to be reading that book on my trip in June. I can't wait. Reads the books of Nos Confunden, The Hidden Lands Beyond. Okay, Richard says, I read the book Nos Confunden, The Hidden Lands Beyond Antarctica, and can be reached but protected by a dome and other 178 worlds outside of our quarantined area. Yeah, and to be honest, there's an old world map. Get this, because I'm going to be going into our extended here soon. It's right here on the channel. You don't need to go anywhere. It's free for everybody. But I'm going to be bringing Archangel Uriel, which there's a land beyond the worlds called the land of Uriel. And Archangel Uriel is the ascended being that guards and oversees all technology, all energy weapons. He would definitely be there to protect, obviously. He's there to bring in and channel technology. He would probably be one of the Palladians, if I'm not sure. Ooh, I'm getting a lot of energy. Some of the Palladians there are definitely interested, and they might even have a point of contact. I've always suspected the unicorn lives there too. And they have a land somewhere where they do either incarnate or they touch down or they fellowship with the earth realm, and it's called the land of Uriel, and it's on an ancient map. And I just resonate with that land because I've always resonated with unicorns, and I feel that unicorns had an electrical. It might not have even, okay, the unicorn animal, I've always felt has had electricity, but its energy field is too great to live right now on this earth, so it went extinct. But I've always felt that its horn was a magical type of beam. But I also feel it could have been an animal or an emanation from Archangel Uriel and had an electric vibe to it, or maybe its horn was even electricity, and it's been passed down as it's been passed down from generation to generation through our maps and our history as an actual horn, a spiral of a horn. But what if that horn was actually a beam of electricity that came out of its head, and it could direct energy? Archangel Uriel, the Palladians, is there a land? We'll definitely have to pull into the lands beyond, but there's something here about electricity, and Tartaria had the ability to utilize it. Richard says, yes, called the lands of the custodians. Are you saying like the land of Uriel? Or was that to something else? I know that the chat sometimes goes. Okay, next question. The mud floods. Did the mud floods occur to bury it? Were there mud floods? And why? Let's just begin pulling on mud floods. Spirit, what can you tell us about mud floods concerning Tartaria? Okay, this is a WAR, the war card. And work, 8 of Pentacles. Oh, the 178 countries, it's vast, called the land of the custodians. Gotcha. So that sounds like there would be a lot of countries there. So this was a manufactured weapon. Humans worked on it, the 5 of Swords. Military. I'm hearing the words invasion, Knight of Wands. 2 of Wands, yeah, a coming in, a traveling from one land to the other. Okay, look at the World card, 2 of Wands. This is like a doorway. They found an access point into the land. The Devil card. So the mud floods were created from evil intention. They were created as a weapon. They were created to destroy, to conquer. This is defense now. Did they have a defense against their own weaponry? Could they defend against this? The mud floods, I believe, were a side effect. 7 of Swords, strategy and war. Once again, that's the incoming invasion, Knight of Swords. Yeah, they got past their defenses using energy weapons. Where did these energy weapons come from in this dark invasion? 9 of Cups, High Priestess, 7 of Wands. I'm feeling with this dark energy, the dark arts. Some sort of dark magicians. I'm seeing like the CERN technology, the Aleister Crowleys. I'm seeing dark magicians from the Vatican, the Jesuits, and even before that. People who knew how to do witchcraft from the darkness. They took some of this energy that they discovered, they utilized, and they basically destroyed major parts and attacked Tartaria. This is part of the massive, this was the first Agenda 21. This was the first Agenda 30. This was the first agenda to rule the world from the dark elite. This is the pre-dark elite. This is the dark elite CABAL energy that was in its first primitive form, and it started with dark magicians. And it's very thick and heavy. It's very thick and heavy. And it's like a whirlwind. It's dizzy, which oftentimes when I get super dizzy, pulling on stuff like this, it can mean witchcraft, meaning manipulation, control. We're going to spin you out of control so that you lose your balance. It's inverted matter. So the pentacle is created matter, Christ consciousness matter. Okay, let me get you a picture of a pentacle here. The pentacle is created matter. Let me show you here. Okay, there's a pentacle. And the star is pointing upward. But the pentagram is upside down, which is inverted matter. Matter that's tried to be manipulated, brought out of balance for your own purpose, not for the good of humanity. So right here is definitely, that's the kind of energy I'm getting. There was Tartarian matter that used it for architecture and love and community. And then there's the Aleister Crowley matter, or we're going to the CERN, the Hadron Collider. Let's manipulate matter for our own purposes and our own ends. Now, I'm not saying if someone has a pentagram that's their intention, okay? But that's the original form of a pentacle versus a pentagram, which is why I don't use pentagrams. I want Christ energy. I want life force energy in balance, matter in balance. Okay, so the mud flood was a direct result of energy gone wrong. And I believe the dark side used astral beings, reptilians. They got some of their technology from the dark side of the beings of Atlantis, who were doing basically the dark Atlantean technology. That darkness that caused the flood, that kind of technology also was weaponized, was used, witchcraft, to help tear down this empire. Okay, were there non-humans involved in any of this? I believe the non-humans were the dark elites, the reptilians, the astral beings, the realms of Hades, you could say, the underworld beings were definitely coming in this dark elite. But were there non-humans or off-world beings that assisted the Atlanteans? I have to use this deck. And after this, I'm going to take a little break. We're going to do and go into our future. There's still so much that we could talk about. What can you tell us about any off-world assistance for the prosperity? Yes. Okay, you all, your question comes up with a yes, especially to travel to another land. Independence. Oh, I'm so happy the vibration has changed. Independence, financial freedom from, look at that, from the devil energy. This is that cultish, dark or cult energy. The Empress card. Yeah. Moving into they were offered another land. So what's happening here is that the Tartarians saw the off-world magic being helped and given to the dark side to actually create this world, this Agenda 21, let's control the world. The Tartarians did see the astral beings coming in off-world. So here we come in for an offer, needing help. Okay, so here's an offer coming in to the Tartarians, the good ones coming in. Protection, a new land, and here victory. Okay, so I believe they received blueprints from off-world ascended beings of some sort. I'm getting earth beings though, so this could even be from the worlds beyond. A desire, a prayer, a wish. There's some beautiful feminine energy and a yes. Okay, so this could be very well that they received help from lands beyond an ice wall or lands in another land, different civilizations in another area. They were receiving help from a civilization or two that was a lot like them. Okay, so they did receive help. They reached out for help. I'm also getting energetic blueprints that came in that some of their psychics and mystics, if we can call them that, channeled from possibly the Pleiadians, the angels, the angelics. I'm getting victory codes. If you want to escape, you go here, here, here. These people were not slaughtered. These people did not end. These people escaped and created a very vibrational, high vibrational, a very wealthy life somewhere else. But they buried their existence, and that's the way they wanted it. These people were not slaughtered. These people were not killed. Yes, people did die. They were betrayed. I believe there was a faction of them that stayed behind to fight. But these people escaped and are perfectly okay with us not knowing that they existed. Wow. Okay, tell me if any of that resonates with you. This is a very basic rundown of it. This is just my understanding as it comes with me. As we do more research, we might come across different kinds of information. Once again, you have to understand my interpretation goes with these cards. I try to open up my clairvoyance and channel from that as much as possible. Richard says what we think of as planets off worlds are a lot closer than we have been led to believe. I have always believed that. Well, not always. As of 6 months ago, six months to a year, I've wondered if some of these Pleiadians are closer than we think. Simply because as we start understanding science, each planet has a realm as well. And what if that realm is just interface somewhere in the earth and you can go through it with a stargate or a portal? So there's definitely something that I am considering as well. Incognito says, I woke up late. I was dreaming the ants got into my pie and ruined it. I think the ants were of the dark side. I have had ants come into my house when there was a relationship I really needed to get rid of. Let's just say that. Richard says, a civil war, we are still fighting, always fighting as we wake up. It gets reset to the bad, but this time a more coordinated, good guy effort works. I agree. And I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to start making contact with some of these civilizations that I believe do have ships in the sky. Woo! That's going to be exciting. Whether they're on world, off world, other world, realm world, a different kind of frequency, this is exciting. Okay, everyone, I am adding on the Tartarian Extended here. The Tartarian Extended is technology from that world into ours. I'm going to do a little bit of light language. It's going to reset my vibe. I'm going to call in Archangel Uriel and Orion. Orion here has actually been here we go. Orion has my picture's covering it up, but Orion has actually been a newly quote unquote discovered archangel. So it's an ascended being that might have reached that Palladian stage, ascended into that realm, or it's just someone that people are starting to connect with. Take it as it resonates. But I've tried to tap into their energy, both Uriel and Orion, I'm telling you, had the most iridescent in clairvoyance, had the most iridescent, flashy, like I can't even, it was something like the flashiness of that tail, but it was like solid silver. It was stunning. It was definitely high grade metallic with hues of blue and gold and silver. A beautiful energy. Orion is known today among those who channel this Pleiadian or Archangel. That Orion is the energy of technology, the energy of higher consciousness AI, the energy of anything technology would be the energy of this, would oversee spaceships, spacecraft, teleportation. Now Uriel has actually the energy you can call on if you need a healing. If you need a healing, Uriel can bring magic into your body. And actually, I have worked with him and his energy to actually heal and bring healing to someone who had fibromyalgia. And I would do these downloads to them, fibromyalgia. And she says, I could feel the times when you were in meditation doing it for me. And I would call upon the energy of Archangel Uriel and ask them to do a download. And it's electricity, it's energy, it's like the pre-technology. So I believe that these two energies are working together. Energy, healing, think Zeus. Think Zeus. Archangel Uriel, think Zeus. So these are the energies that I want to bring in, but I need to just cleanse the energy. Grab yourself a cup of tea, a cup of coffee. We have 3 questions to look in about what's coming. Are we having any of these technologies about to open up? I will share a little bit about flying cars. And let's get started. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I think I need to put our unicorn in plain sight. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for being here, everyone. If you haven't liked or subscribed, please do so. Hit the like button. Rika sharianda rababako sharianda rababaka sharianda. Rababababaruko shikianda rianda rabarumba barambari karianda rababaka shanda. We call in the energy and the presence with honor and respect of Archangel Uriel, Rika Andi Ishi Shishi Shishi Shianda, Ayakia Yakiandari Shishi Shishi Shishianda, Kiadiri Kirakiando, Babara Baba Yasharianda, Okia Yaya Yamba Riando, Ro Barianda Rianda, Rabari Kashorianda, Kosharianda. We call for truth and clarity for the technology coming into this golden age. We call upon your energy in the light of the Pleiadians and the angels, that the grace of the Almighty Christ consciousness would bring in technology for our best and highest good. Shakya shashyakyando koshitria babo shitya daredebaya koshayanda sharyororobari cherdebo shorobarianda. Aya kashayanda riando roboko sharianda rianda rababakanda. We call upon the presence with honor and respect of Archangel Orion. Let the iridescent light of the divine flow through you into every person on this live. Let the healing power of higher consciousness align our energy fields to heal our physical bodies and balance all anxiety. Let the power of the divine flow to this world to raise us in ascension and bring in the technologies of light. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I usually do the light language on the private membership. If you want more of that, join. It's only $9 a month. If you're from a country and you need to send me PayPal, we can work that out. I also do $80 a year. The reason why I do it is because it's an energy and a frequency. And sometimes the higher realms of light don't want energy and frequency to go out too quickly to people who are not ready. So that's one of the reasons why I do the membership, is if you resonate with me, you're ready. And light and frequency can shock people's reality and start bringing the tower moment and chaos to their world. And when I do the light language, or I tapped into the energy of the angels, my original world would fall apart. And people who are no longer, it's like, and I would even have clairvoyant visions of angels coming to me and being like, that person is not good for you, get out. They were quite forceful and fierce. And they always let me make the decision, but they're like, look, if you want to go, you can't have this person. We're not going to work with you if this person is in your life. And I remember being in my living room being like, I can't just leave. And they're just like, okay. And next thing I knew, within 3 months, that person had stabbed me in the back so hard, I cried for several weeks. And it was because that person really was a bad person. And my guides were saying to you, you're going higher. You're tapping into light codes. And this person can't stay with you because one of them has to go. It's like a magnet repelling each other. Okay, so these light codes are for those who resonate with. And if you're here today, that means you resonate with it. If you followed me on the replay or on the live, yeah, this is the choice to do the work. You've chosen to ascend. You've chosen to work and to continue the ascension process. So thank you for being here today. Now, these light codes also bring in energy to help bring in technology to our world. So I want to call upon them and ask the question, are there any star seeds living on this earth, incarnated in our current world, that are actually from Tartaria and that are tasked to bring in technology? I'm seeing Tesla. I'm seeing Tesla. Okay, are there any star seeds bringing in Tartarian technology or from that world? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Those of you who have studied Tartaria and discovered it, you might be from that earlier civilization because you're so interested. Oftentimes, if you resonate with a certain, like the Knights Templar, you resonate with Tartaria, you resonate with Atlantis or mermaids or unicorns, you might have had some sort of past life in that kind of environment. I really do feel I've had a unicorn somewhere. Other people, friends of mine, resonate with the dragons. Yeah, beautiful. And they have gargoyles over on their property. So it can sometimes tell who you are by what you resonate to. Star. You can't get this any better than this. Star seed DNA. And look how he's working on his, he's working on his pentacles. Activated DNA. So what I feel this message is saying is that there are some star seeds connected to Tartaria whose DNA are being activated right now. This is also advanced technology, okay? They know how to work with the quantum field. They know how to work with energy, frequency, and vibration. And that's how their DNA gets activated. And that's how we know they have a life purpose, is they actually begin working with that kind of technology. Those people who have put in the patents across the world that have studied this stuff, many of them are star seeds, that their memory was activated. Yes, to your question. Are there star seeds bringing in technology from the land, associated with the land and the civilization of Tartaria? Absolutely. Strategic. I'm hearing the words manipulated. Now, this could be manipulated realities, but I'm also seeing ignored. I'm seeing some of it's accepted by society and some of it's not. So here he has two swords that he has chosen. He's thinking about this sword and he's left two swords on the ground. This is telling me some of their work is not yet accepted by society. They're breaking ground. Queen of Pentacles in the other deck, this was the Tartarian Empire. This is that wealth, that vitality, that ability to create and take care of your resources. This is the Mother Earth energy. This is the energy of harnessing the energy of Mother Earth. I believe a lot of the technology coming from Tartaria is working with the earth. The ley lines, the grid workers, those who do grid ley line work and grid work in the astral plane at night, those kind of people. The people who study and go to the grid lines and they actually like to visit or research the different ley lines, the grid lines of Earth, the star forts, they research this or they travel there. Those could be awakening star seeds and carrying this. But also those who are exploring the reality of free energy, working with the meridian lines of Earth. I'm also seeing the message that if you go to any kind of these forts, lands, pyramids, my cat's scratching, so that's that noise in the background. He's playing in his box. If you go to any kind of ley line energy work, it activates your DNA. So if you do have any kind of geography that you suspect has a stronger energy, go there. It helps to activate your ancient DNA that carries your life purpose in your star seed missions. I'm also seeing a lot of Atlantis, and I'm hearing the words, a lot more people are from Atlantis than we realize. They have the energy like the crystals, and they have that kind of energy. I believe the Tartarians are a little bit more rare. I believe the reason why the Tartarians are a little bit more rare is because many of them, I believe, have anti-aging technology, so they didn't die and reincarnate. They just kept living. So their souls are still in underground. Incognito says, like Arizona, supposedly a portal. That, yes, that activates your DNA or your energy fields. Okay, are there any old world Tartarians in contact with people today? Let's ask that. Not the technology right now, okay? The technology is awakening up through the DNA of people, and they're getting sparks and blueprints, and they're working with the energy grids. That's one aspect of this. But I want to see if there's any 500-year-old people, even 200-year-old people still alive and well and in their youth, or 1,000-year-old people, or people from the underground ancestry. Let's just do that, okay? Underground ancestry. Any of the old world Tartarians connecting to Earth people today. High Priestess. Okay, that's that ancient technology documents. The King of Pentacles, leaders of the world. Surrender. So in the past energy, There was something surrendered. This is an interesting spread. I want to, and in the center is confusion. So what's this confusion? Oh, 5 of Cups. I believe they tried to make contact with some of the world leaders, and the world leaders kind of went psycho on it. They could not handle, and this is coming from like the, now he wants his food. This is coming from the ancient people trying to make contact with specific world leaders. I'm getting like the Eisenhower connection, but the people of this world were not ready. This is in the past. I'm seeing like they tried, and it did not go well. They tried to make contact, but they don't know who to connect with. So they stayed hidden and at a distance from the world, and they continued waiting until the world became financially balanced. Then they will make this announcement and this reconnection. So this civilization, whoever, whether they're off-world or whether they're underground or whether they're beyond, whatever it is, there's a civilization out there that has a lot of ancient technology. They tried to connect to world leaders. The world leaders, I'm just getting the word psycho. Like they didn't know how to handle that kind of information. They didn't know how to integrate it into their civilizations, and they kind of poo-pooed on it. Like they almost didn't believe it. They almost like, look here, not there. Like all they saw was the negativity, and they didn't see the value. They did not value this the way they wanted to. It was very confusing to them. I'm hearing the word reverse engineered. I believe that there are some scientists that do have some of this technology, have reverse engineered it, and are starting to understand it. But it's almost like the world in the last 50 to 300 years could not handle this kind of high-level upgrade. But if they can bring the nations, this is the travel, the across-country card, and the nations become balanced, and we start ending our wars, and we start becoming financially stable, that's when this motherland Tartarian, let's use the technology for good. Let's teach you how to build that ancient architecture once again. Let's teach you how to teleport. Let's teach you how to travel in good vehicles. Incognito said Eisenhower was raised as a Jehovah's Witness, but left that religion to pursue his career. Very interesting. And there's also, I want to clarify here, I'm not saying that Eisenhower is the one here. I did see him, but he could be a point of reference of how he might have communicated to off-world beings. And I do believe Eisenhower was approached, you need to lay down your nuclear weapons, and he refused. I did hear that story somewhere deep in a conspiracy theory. And so he couldn't lay down his nuclear weapons because other countries had nuclear weapons, and that would put him in a disadvantage. So that's that. I can't do that. That's that rejection. So this could very well be a reference to that contact, or it could just be a point of reference of something like that has happened. Right now, this anti-aging technology, some of these other kind of teleportation, levitation technologies with the Earth grid, they're not wanting to connect until we get our crap together on the earthly realm with our nations, our finances, and our WARs. And frankly, I don't blame them. I don't blame them, because we would probably destroy ourselves. Okay. Do we have any patents pending from that old world? Do we have any patents such as free energy, teleportation, not experimentation? I just want to know patents. I have heard, and I have looked, I've done my own research on the patent office just in the United States of America, and the patents are being blocked. They're being shut down. They're being ignored. I have done research on somebody. I listened to his testimony of how he discovered, just in his own backyard in a Texas country town, he discovered how to do his engine so that it cut down miles to the gallon by like 75%. He would like he could like do miles and miles on one tank of gas, miles and miles. And he created a patent, okay, for this. And he put it in to the U.S. Patent Office. It was ignored and tabled, and it was denied. After a while, it was just denied. He then got a patent for just the blueprints, okay? And he got a patent for just the blueprints. And then he began building it without a patent. I hope I'm saying this right, okay? But it gets good. He began his own company where he began building this motor attachment and began sending it out to all his people, advertising it on YouTube or wherever he was. He wasn't on YouTube. I think it was earlier than this. And he began advertising it, and people began questioning him. So it's like, we want your blueprints, but we want you to build it for us. So send us this. And he had like hundreds and hundreds of these little motors to send out. And he would mail them by the U.S. Postal Service. And he said he must have had 300 to 400 that he sent out through the U.S. Postal Service. And the U.S. Postal Service never delivered them. And they began getting mail after phone call after mail saying, we never got our engine extension. Can you send me another one? And they had to rebuild the entire 300 to 400 lot. And it broke their business. It broke, and it kept happening in little ways. He says, we cannot do these engines anymore, engine attachments. It's financially unable to. They get lost in the mail. And he says, we can now only do the blueprints. And so we can sell the blueprints and mail the blueprints, but you have to be able to build it yourself. They wrecked his business. And his patent, I believe, is still in holding for the U.S. engine or whatever it was. There's still several patents that he could not get. I cannot remember the name, and I apologize, but you could do your own research and find out if you go in. And there's also other videos of someone who says, I discovered this ability to do this and this and this. And next thing you know, they were accidentally killed in a car crash. So there's definitely a dark elite agenda on patents. Are there any patents in the offices of this world that carry much bigger technology than just an engine attachment? But let's see. And what's the future of these patents? Eight, they've been taken away. 8 of Cups is moved out. Technology, the world card. But I thought this was a star card, but there's the world. They were either erased or moved. What does that mean? Ended, we have the ending card or the moved card. The choice card, that's the office having to make a choice. Do we give you a patent or not? There's the offer, but this is also slow moving contracts. The Chariot card, for the future, things are going to change. So what I'm seeing here is that several of these patents were actually moved and given the patent, but they were moved to work with an NDA for the governments of this world, or for the U.S. militaries, or for the science programs. So they were moved and secured so that they don't go to the public. They go with an NDA to, that's a non-disclosure agreement. They go into the scientific where, yes, we will use your invention, but we're going to use it in an underground facility and no one else can have access to it. So I'm seeing that's one of the result of the patents. The other patents are they were just denied. No, we don't have the facilities to help watch how this could destroy our oil industry or the gas industry. Because if you put an attachment that onto your vehicle where you only need to buy 1 gallon of gas a week, that's going to ruin the oil industry. So they were either given a patent, and many of them that are still allegedly pending are being used, but they're being used in a secretive way, or they're just being held and denied. There's, however, a timeline shift coming. This is a change of trajectory, the way patents are being done. If you're enjoying this, please give me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to my channel or supporting my membership. Thank you to everyone watching and on the replay. If you catch this late, go ahead and start at the beginning because we read all about Tartaria and we pull cards on Tartaria. Okay, there's going to be an announcement or change in the, I'm seeing a change in the patent office. This is a new way patents are done, a more authentic, fair way patents are done. What can you tell us about patents? What's changing? I'm seeing a lot of attention is being given. And this is international. So a lot of attention is being given to the patents that were moved. This is the moving card, the ones that disappeared, the travel card, so they left, and that were actually denied. So there's actually going to be coming an investigation, a looking into the truth, even a disclosure at some of the patents, especially the free energy patents that were denied. I'm seeing some of the administrations coming up, the new administrations that change hands, that connect more and more to light, and especially as the industry changes in our tariffs and the oil industry, these deals being made in Saudi Arabia and Qatar and all these other deals being made across the world, our financial industry is changing. And I believe that once we get established in the new tariff system, that whole matrix of controlling through the stock market, through the oil industry, through the textile, all that control used to support our political leaders, our congressmen, our representatives, our presidents, our prime ministers, they all benefited from the old matrix of the way money was held. So these new patents were ignored, if not denied, because those patents would have threatened the stock market, been harder to control, would have threatened the trade industry, would have threatened the oil industry, would have threatened everything. Once that gets stabilized, it's looking like energy is going to be given to the patents to say, why was this patent denied? This is brilliant. Stabbed in the heart. Why was it stabbed in the heart? Why? You're utilizing energy from the earth. This is quantum realm energy. Why aren't we using this as a scientific nation? Why was this hidden when they asked for a public patent? Why did they move it to the side? And it's time for disclosure to come. So that's good news. But we have to bring the rest of our economy into balance so that these patents, these patents can have the freedom to come out and the dark elite will not be controlling them. Richard says, was or is Saint Germain a Tartarian? A land beyond the walls is named Saint Germain. I did not know that. So guess he's like an ambassador, as are many other otherworldly influences. Okay, let's ask about Saint Germain, but I want to go to your other comment. It says another guy is doing that, quote, open source. The inventions don't go through the patent office. It only controls the device or invention. So new model bypass, and yes, build it yourself. Okay, so that's still there. I don't know if it's the same man or that guy, but they're starting to get around it. And with the new age of Aquarius and the Aquarian energy, it's going to support advanced technology, because Aquarius is the energy of advanced technology, free energy, better, higher quality living. Okay. Spirit, can you tell us, is Saint Germain a Tartarian? Does he live in a land beyond? So the cards that fell out is to star card. That's technology, that's ascension, that's energy, that's that traveling between portals. We have the devil card and the energy card, but that's just coming with a chunk of cards that I had. So I am getting here that energy weapon again, fighting, do energy weapon. Okay, but that star card is a confirmation. I do want to cleanse this deck because this is the deck I'm called to, but we need to clear it up. Thank you. What can you tell us about Saint Germain? Does he live in a world beyond? Okay, we're getting that energy card again. So that's the card, and this is a small yes, but there's more. There's more. It looks like some of the portals were blocked in his travel. You're getting a yes card, okay? He is living in a land beyond, but there was something about energy that was blocked on this earth realm. This could be some sort of high frequency grid that he cannot travel through or could not travel through, or other beings had a hard time traveling through. Let's get further clarity. That's the betrayal card, the card of you're not welcome. I don't like you, okay? This is the 10 of Cups, his own society, civilization, a very happy civilization. This is telling me they're higher vibrational than this earth plane, but they also have the normal mechanisms of like young ones and children and family. And I'm not saying as deep as that. I'm just saying there's a familial vibe, a family vibe, a community vibe there. They're very deeply protected by an energy field or an energy source. And I'm hearing the words invisible. They have chosen and might even have laws of the land that say you cannot show yourselves to that land right now, to Earth, to our current reality, because they're not ready. And it's like an agreement that they have in their civilization. Do not reveal yourself. But I'm seeing that invisibility cloak as well. And it could be just beyond the veil, but I'm not getting beyond the veil. I'm getting some sort of community. What can you tell us about Saint Germain? 5 of Wands. He's definitely involved. And the Tower card. 8 of Cups. Yeah, that's not being welcome. They're actually, I'm hearing the words, they're hated by some of the earth dwellers. They're hated. And especially the earth dwellers who are connected to the reptilians and the astral beings, they're hated. These people are hated. And I'm also hearing the words hunted. Like how they used to hunt the vampires, and they would hunt the dragons, and they would hunt. These people could very well be hunted. Captured. And this is the healing card, the card of bringing messages of healing to the world. Okay, I'm just going to share what I see here, but it seems like there's an actual WAR or conflict between the ascended ones and the other land. And if they do come through the portals and try to help us, even as disguised, they're hunted and they're captured. And I'm seeing like the Cairo chamber, the chambers where they lock them in and keep them for years and years and years. What you call that? When people are dead, those chambers. Not a hyperbaric chamber, but something like that. The cryogenics, those chambers where they try to trap them and keep them. But they have to use some sort of technology to try to trap people like Saint Germain. Wow. And if they come through the portals, whether it's a realm, whether it's a galactic, whether it's off-world, or whether it's just through the ice wall, whatever it is, these people, these high vibrational people that have this technology have been hunted. In the past, I'm hearing the words 500 to 800 years or more, thousands of years. They have extreme abilities to capture them, and they need extreme weapon to capture them. And they're not safe here. So it's not even safe, or it has not been safe for someone like Saint Germain or a galactic or an angelic in their body. that come into this land and not be incarnated, because I believe the astral beings and the reptilians, they can see the energy and they know who they are, and they can alert or tell or do something to the other dark elite to say that's an ascended being, capture them. And I believe there's been dark magic and dark witchcraft. Once I had a dream, I believe paralyzation is the way that this astral entity works, because you can't really die when you have a light body. You don't have an incarnated body. And paralyzation, that cryogenics chamber or whatever it's called, that kind of chamber freezes you, just like in the legend of Medusa, where you could freeze you into stone. Well, this is freezing you into energy. And I had a dream once when I woke up in the underworld, and there was this horrible creature. And I was like, why do you hate me? And it's like, the most level of hatred. And it tried to freeze me. And I remember calling upon Jesus, calling for help. And in my dream, I felt my consciousness slip through the veil and enter my body. But in my body, I woke up and I was completely frozen. It was like the whole dream, the slip, and waking up, I was fully conscious through it all. Like I could see myself going through the veil. It was like a split second, and I went through to escape the paralyzation in that astral world. And I woke up and I could not move. I was like, it's okay. I just need to relax. I'm safe now. And I could not move for about 15 to 30 seconds. But that's death in this realm. Paralyzation is their death. It means you cannot move. And that's the way they fight. They use energy to lock you down. And if Saint Germain would come in freely like Jesus did, Jesus walked through walls. He walked on water. In his light body, he could disappear and reappear. That's the energy of an ascended master. If these ascended masters appeared in this land, the dark elite had magicians that would recognize them and try to even paralyze them. Because that's the way galactics and Palladians and off-world or other realms fight. They paralyze. So there's a lot of information there. Whew. There's a lot of information right here of why, because I've asked myself, and a lot of people have asked me, why doesn't Saint Germain, why don't my guides show themselves? Why don't they appear in full form? Because if they did, their energy would leave an imprint and would attract the dark astral beings. Incognito says, during the live news coverage of the Queen's death, a voice that sounded like Princess Diana broke in and said something about being trapped, if I recall correctly. I have massive chills, which is normally a sign that what you're saying is true. Wow. And if you look at some of the ancient, or some of just the multiverse kind of Disney, the multiverse, the kind of, the way the witches and the warlocks fight, and, good versus light, they try to like zap you. Yes, that is talked about in the Beyond the Walls books, even that the few humans that make it beyond the wall are hunted down. So the ones coming in to help us are targeted. I did not know that. Thank you for confirming this, both of you, because that makes sense of why when we call upon our spirit guides, they only come to us as guidance or blueprints or in their clairvoyance. They stay beyond the veil, and they want to talk to us, and we have to develop our spiritual abilities to connect with them. But I do hope that this is what the mystics are saying of first contact. What if they can start soon revealing themselves and saying, yes, I can work with you on a more 3D level, because we can get some, because these astral entities are pushed away. Okay, everyone, I'm going to leave it there. I have to head off to work. I am preparing for my trip in June, which allegedly is on a ley line for the UK in Southern England. And the lady doing the retreat says it's a ley line of Archangel Michael and Mother Mary, and there's healing vibes there. So this, I will definitely be sharing pictures and maybe even doing, if I can get internet service, maybe even doing that. It's in June. It's still quite a ways away, but I am working extra hard to get my money. I still have my plane ticket, my baggage fees, and the month's rent. So if you know of somebody who wants a private reading, I can do it by Zoom or email. Send me their link, their link, connect us, violetflame.net. Support me on my membership and give me a thumbs up, a like. Thank you for your questions today, everyone. Thank you for helping me do this. I feel like I have a better grasp. I hope you do too. Saint Germain, Tartaria, the worlds beyond, lots more news to come. Memberships, I'm going to be doing some June predictions, financial predictions, and I'm hoping this coming Wednesday, if I get enough research, if I get enough research done, I'm hoping to do it on the moon. Yes. And if not, I'll do the global shift and we'll do it on Sunday, depending on how confident I feel about the information. If you have any comments you want to put, feel free to put it even on my YouTube channel. And any ideas, any subjects, any advanced questions, you can also share with me on my website as a member. Advanced questions, but you're not going to be on the live. You can send me it on that form, join my membership, and then fill out the form, and you can send me any advanced questions about those topics if you're not going to make it to the live Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate every single one of you. Great. Incognito says, is Stonehenge on a ley line too? I wouldn't be surprised. I've also heard, though, it's been moved. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was originally intended to be built on a ley line. Yeah. All right. Till next time.